Hello students, welcome to the chapter on Interface Python with MySQL. This is the part 3 of this particular chapter and today's topic of discussion is data extraction from SQL via Python. What we are basically going to discuss in this particular part is that we have some data in SQL, we need to bring the data from SQL and display it with the help of the Python programming language. So let's begin with the syllabus. This is the syllabus. Out of the syllabus, we are going to discuss the topic which is highlighted in red color. Now, the first thing that we need to know in data extraction is of creating a cursor instance. Now, what is a cursor instance? A database cursor is a specialized control structure that facilitates the row by row processing of records in the result set. So, since you are a computer science student, all of you know the meaning of cursor. What is a cursor? A cursor is a pointer with the help of which we can point to different icons and to different objects which we see in the desktop or anywhere in the computer. Similarly, there is a cursor in database and the use of that cursor is to process the records in a table one after another. Let's see it with the help of an example. Let's take the EMP table which we discussed while discussing the topics on SQL. So this is the EMP table. So at first the cursor will be on the first row and then once the first row processing is complete, it will move on to the second row, then to the third row, then fourth and finally to the fifth row. Okay. Now what is the syntax of this? The syntax is that cursor object equals to connection object dot cursor. Now what is cursor object? Cursor object is a variable which creates the cursor, okay, equals to connection object. We have already discussed about connection object in the previous part. We have taken the variable x for connection object dot cursor. This cursor function helps in creating the cursor and the movement of the same. Let's take an example. The example is, let's say we give the variable name for cursor object as CUR equals to connection object. In the previous class only we took it as x dot cursor. X and CUR, both of these are variables. You can take any identifier as per your choice. Okay, it will be more clear when we go to the practicals. At first certain theory part is necessary. Next topic is executing SQL query. Now once you are ready with cursor creation, now you can execute SQL query or use SQL commands within the Python programming language. So after the cursor is created, the SQL query can be used with the execute function. What is the syntax for that? The syntax is that cursor object dot execute, then within quotes we will give the SQL query. Cursor object we have already created in the previous step, dot execute. Execute is the function which helps in providing SQL commands within the Python programming language. So you should imagine that whenever you are using the SQL execute function, a separate window, you can imagine that a separate SQL window is being opened and you can do any SQL programming over there, just like this. Okay, so within the SQL query part, you can write any valid SQL query and it will just trigger the computation with the help of SQL. Okay, so SQL queries are run within Python using execute function. So using the help of execute function, SQL queries can be run in Python. What is the syntax? I have already given the syntax, which is cursor object dot SQL, then within quotes you need to give any valid SQL query. For example, if I write CUR dot execute within quotes select star from EMP, then what will happen? All the records of the EMP relation will get triggered and it will be brought to the Python programming language. Next we go to the concept of result set. What is a result set? It refers to the logical set of data that are fetched from the database by executing an SQL query and made available to the application program. Now whatever data is present in SQL, all the data, these are known as your result set. Our main aim in this particular part is to bring the result set from SQL and display it via the Python programming language. Now there are various ways or functions to extract data from SQL based on our needs, and the different ways are as follows. First is we have three functions. fetch1, second is fetchall, and finally we have the function fetchmany. With this function we can extract data from SQL and display it via Python. Let's begin with the fetch1 function. This function returns one row from the result set in the form of a tuple containing a record. Now, what is the use of this fetch1 function? The use of this fetch1 function is that it is used to return one row from the result set. Let's say there are 50 rows in a particular table. If I use the fetch1 function, only the first row will be returned. This function returns the records pointed to by the pointer. So, before applying the fetch1 function, what we will do? We will have to create the cursor and use the execute query. So, the cursor will already point to the first record when we execute it at the very beginning. Now, whatever record it is being pointing to currently, it will display that particular record. Now, when one record is fetched, the pointer moves to the next record of the result set. Let's say there are 50 rows and you have given fetch1 function once, then what will happen? The first record will be fetched, and once the first record fetching is completed, then what will happen? Then the cursor which is being created, as I have shown with the help of an animation, it will move on to the next record or the next row or the next tuple. When we use the fetch1 again, it will return the next record of the result set. After fetching one, it will return. If you use the fetch1 function again, it will then return the next record of the result set. I will show it to you with the help of a program. What is the syntax for using it? The syntax is data equals to cursor dot fetch1. So, let us try to see it with the help of an example. So, we have this particular table called as the EMP table. Okay, so here let us take two cases. In the first case, if I write data equals to cur.fetch1 as per the syntax we saw in the previous slide, then what will happen? The cursor will at first point to the first row, which is the row with the employee ID 1001, and it will just extract the data and store it in the variable data. Data is also a variable. You can take any identifier for data as per your wish. Now, after storing it in data, for being able to display it via Python, you have to do the printing of the variable data. Then what will happen? The first row will be returned. Let us see the case 2. In case 2, what we have done? We have used these two commands twice. Now, after using fetch1 once and printing the data, if I again use the fetch1 function, then what will happen? See, after printing the first row, the cursor will move on to the next row. So, whenever we use the fetch1 function again, what it will do? It will not display the first row again, it will go and display the second row. So, this will be our case. Okay. So, now let us try to implement this particular code. So, we need to write a program in Python to extract first two rows from SQL via Python using the fetch1 function. Okay. So, the name of the program is, we need to write a program which will extract the first two rows from the EMP relation and display the same using the fetch1 function. So, for that, the initial steps I have already shown in the previous part. If you haven't watched it, you can just watch it. So, at first we need to import the MySQL connector library. So, import MySQL dot connector as, I will give a short name which is, let us say MS. Okay. After that, we need to give the connection object which is X. I have also discussed this particular line in the previous part. You can just go and check it out if you haven't watched it already. X equals to MS dot connect. I have already discussed about all these things. Next, we have certain attributes here. Host equals to, what is the host name here? Localhost, comma. After that, we need to give the username. In my laptop, it is, the user is root. By default, the user is root and host is localhost if the database is present in this particular machine itself. Now, my database is present in this machine itself, therefore, I have given the host as localhost. After that, what we need to give? We need to give the password. Password spelling is PASSWD in this case, equals to, I haven't given any password in MySQL, so I will just leave it blank. After that, we need to specify the database. See, the database specification is optional. You can also create the database from Python. I will come to that later, but now let me show you my database. My database is the database school. I have already created in my the database school in MySQL, also inserted the also created the table EMP within the database school and inserted these records. So you should know about SQL before doing Python SQL connector. So if you do not know how to create database or inserting records via SQL, then you should check out my series on MySQL, which is the initial part of database management for class 12. Okay, so now I'll assume that you know MySQL. Okay, so I have the database, the name of my database is the database called school. Okay, so what I'll do here, I'll write here the database name, database equals to my database name is school. Okay, I have given the database name. After that, I need to check if the connection is successful or not. So for that also I have taught in the next previous class, if x dot is connected, then I'll just test the connection by displaying a message like success. So before moving, we'll just test the connection status. Okay, so yeah, let me test the connection status here. So I'll just save it and then run this program. I am getting the output as success. Success means the connection status is successful here. So now we have to do what? We have to create the cursor object at the very beginning. Now what is the syntax for creating the cursor object? I have already discussed it. It is cursor object equals to connection object dot cursor. So let's take the cursor object as any variable. CUR equals to connection object is x. This is the connection object, x dot cursor. Okay, so we have done the first step, which is creating the cursor instance. After that, what is the next step? The next step was executing the SQL query. Now for executing the SQL query, we had a function. The name of that function is the execute function. So just follow this syntax and we will do the execute function here. So the syntax is cursor object dot execute, then we have to write the execute query. So cursor object is what? Cursor object is your CUR. So we have to give CUR dot execute, and then here let us bring all the records. So which is select star from, what is the name of the relation? The name of the relation or the table is EMP. As you can see here in the SQL, the name of the table is EMP. The table is present within the school database. So for extracting all the records, what I can do, I have given the command select star from EMP. The execute function allows us to write any SQL commands within the Python programming language. So imagine that here you are getting a separate window for SQL programming. Okay, so what we have done, we have executed the SQL query. Now for bringing the result set, at first we will be using the fetch1 function. Okay, so what is the syntax? The syntax is data equals to cursor dot fetch1. Okay, so what we will do here, data is a variable equals to cursor. What is the cursor? Cursor is your CUR, cursor object dot fetch 1. Okay, so now what it will do, it will fetch the first record from the MySQL database and store it in the variable data. Now how to know that we are getting the first row? For that we have to display it. How to display it? We can display it with the help of the print function. So if I just give print data, and then now my program is finished, I can just close the connection object by x dot close. About close also I have discussed in the previous part. Now I'll just save it and then run it. So as you can see, the first row is being displayed here. Okay, so if I can just show you the database. So here there are various rows. So since I have used fetch1 function, so only the first row is being displayed here. So now the aim of this program is to display extract the first two rows. So what I can do, I can use these two lines again. So now the cursor is in the second row. So for that we'll just, for extracting the second row also, we will just give this particular command again, data equals to car dot fetch1 and then print data. Okay, and then just run this program, and as you can see, now I have got the first two rows from the SQL database. So this is the SQL database. We have extracted successfully the first 2 rows from the SQL database, and we have displayed it via the Python programming language, as you can see in the output here. Okay, so here let's just show it to you once. So this was our source code and this was our output. Okay, now let's go to the next data extraction function, which is the fetch all. From the name only it is evident that the fetch all function is used to return all the rows from the result set in the form of a tuple containing all the records. So now if you want to extract all the rows at a time, then you will use the fetch all function. What is the syntax? The syntax is the same, just the fetch one name has been replaced by fetch one. Data equals to cursor dot fetch all. So for example, if I give data equals to cur dot fetch all, the entire set of records from the EMP relation will come and it will get stored in the variable data. Okay, after that if I give print data, and let's say this is the EMP table, what I'll do, I'll get all the rows in my Python programming language output. Okay, so let's try to do it. Okay, so for that, so what is the name of the program? It is to write a program in Python to extract all rows from SQL via Python using fetch all function. So write a program in Python to extract, I'll just change the name, extract all rows from the EMP relation using fetch all function. Okay, so the first line will be similar, second line is also similar because we are dealing with the same database, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh line is also similar. After that there will be just minor changes in all the 3 functions. So now what we have to do, data equals to cur dot, here we are using the fetch all function, so data equals to cur dot fetch all. So now the entire data has been carried from MySQL and it has been stored in the variable data. So now for viewing it, we will just print the variable data. Okay, and if I just run it, you can see that what you can see in the output, you can see that all the rows are being displayed. But if you just pay attention here, the output is not a user friendly, not in user friendly manner. It has been displayed in the form of a tuple, but the output is very haphazard. Okay, the output through Python is displayed in the form of a tuple. So now what we will do, we will make some changes to this program, and what we can do, we will just bring all the rows in separate lines. Okay, so for bringing or making this program a little bit user friendly, we will just display we'll just do some programming and display the rows in separate lines. Okay, so this was our case 1. In case 1, we have just used the fetch all function and we have displayed all the rows. But the problem is that the output is not user friendly because all the rows have come haphazardly one after another. But now what we will do, we will write a program such that we can display the rows in separate lines. For that, we will just do a minor change, and with the help of for loop, we will just display it in separate lines. Let's do it. The entire program will be same, just we have to do some modification here. So for displaying in separate line, let's apply a for loop after this particular line. So for I in data, what is I? I is the this one variable counter. Okay, it will just display the rows one after another. You all already know about the for loop from your class 11 concepts, and if you do not know, you can just revise it from your class 11 concepts. Okay, so now what we will do, we need to display it one after another. So now we will just display print I here. So if I just do this change, then you can see that now the output has come, the same output has come, but now the output is much more user friendly. Okay, obviously towards the end of this chapter, we will make it even more user friendly than what you are seeing right now by using certain more additional libraries. Now let's see how this particular thing has run. If I just display data here, I am getting the entire data here. Now if I just want to see the index of the data, if I give data 0, it will display the first row. If I give data 1, it will display the second row, and so on. Now this particular for loop I will take the value of 0 at the very beginning. So whenever I have displayed print I, that means the index 0 has been displayed. What is there in the index 0? The first row is there in the index 0. Therefore, the first row has been displayed at the very beginning. Now, you know one behavior of the print function. The default behavior of print function is that after displaying anything within the print function, it automatically redirects the output to the next line. So, after displaying the first index, it will automatically redirect the cursor to the next line. After that, in the next iteration, the index 1 will be taken, that is the second row, then the index 2, 3 and 4 respectively. So, one by one the indexes will be moving in this particular program. So, if I can just say this line has an index 0, this line has an index 1, this line index 2, 3 and 4 respectively. Okay. So, in this way we can just give this particular for loop and make it little bit more user friendly, such that the output is displayed in separate lines. Okay, I hope that this particular thing is clear. So here in case 2, what we have done, it is the same program, just we have displayed the lines one after another using the index of this particular tuple. Now let's see the last function of data extraction, which is the fetch many function. Now this function is used to return n number of rows from the result set in the form of a tuple containing the records. So sometimes you do not want all the records or just one records. You might want the freedom so that you can display as many rows as per your wish. So if you want to display as many rows as per your wish, then you can use the fetch many function. What is the syntax? The syntax is data equals to cursor dot fetch many, then within bracket n. N means the number of rows that you want to be displayed. For example, if I write data equals to cur dot fetch many 3, it will return 3 rows from the result set. So this is the entire result set of the table EMP. So if I give data equals to cur dot fetch many 3, what will be the output? The output will be that it will return the first 3 rows. As you can see here, what has been returned? The first 3 rows has been returned here. So here also we will see 2 cases, which is write a program in Python to display the first 3 rows of data from the EMP relation using fetch all. Okay. So our purpose is to display the first 3 rows of data from the EMP relation. So let's modify the program title a bit. Write a program in Python to extract the first 3 rows from the EMP relation using fetch many. Many things will be same, only this part will be different. We want to extract first 3 rows. So what we will just write, data equals to cur dot fetch many. How many rows we require? We require 3 rows, so we will just give 3. So since we know the user friendliness, how to make it user friendly, the output, therefore we will use the previous concept of the for loop in displaying the data. So if I just run it, you can see that only first 3 rows has been displayed. If I, let's say I want only the first 2 rows. So here I'll replace this 3 by 2 and then just run it. So as you can see here, now the first 2 rows has been displayed. Okay, this is the case 1. Okay, so here the first 3 rows has been displayed. Now see, let's make this program a little bit more dynamic. Now if you want to display two rows, then you have to make the changes in the program itself. But if you see it from the user point of view, the user will not be able to see the program. The user can see only the output. Okay. For example, while browsing Facebook, do you get to see the codes, how Facebook has been made? No, you don't get to see the code. You get to see only the user interface or the output. Therefore, for making it more user friendliness, we will have a case 2 of this particular program. In case 2, what we will do? We will ask the user how many rows the user wants to display, and accordingly we will display the number of rows. So, let us do it. We will just make some modification in the program. We want to display the first n rows from the EMP relation. So, for that what we will do? We will ask how many rows the user wants to display here. Okay. So, for that let us receive it by the variable n equals to int input. You already know how to receive data from class 11 concepts. Enter the number of rows you want to display. Okay, and just make the output redirect in the next line with the help of /n. So, here what I will give, instead of 2 I will just give n. Now, our program will become dynamic. Now, as I run it, it will ask you enter the number of rows you want to display. If I just type 3, it will display 3 rows. If I just run it again, if I just write 4 here, it will display 4 rows and so on. So, now it is the most efficient behavior of the program. Why? Because the program has become dynamic. Why dynamic? Because for making changes as to how many rows it has to display, I need not make the modification in the program again and again. We have already received it through the variable n. The rest of the parts are similar. Okay, all the functions are basically similar with some minor difference in the working. Okay, so now let us go to the last concept of today's part, which is row count. Now, after displaying data, if you want to know how many rows has been fetched from the SQL table, you have to use the concept of row count. So, it is a property of the cursor object which is used to retrieve the number of rows from the cursor so far. So far the cursor is in which position? For knowing it, we can use the property of row count. What is the syntax? The syntax is that variable equals to cursor object dot row count. Okay, so let us try to implement it. The name of the program is write a program in Python to display the first n rows of the data from the EMP relation using fetch all. This is similar to the previous program. Also display the number of rows fetch. Okay, so now our program work will be to display the number of rows also. So I will just make some modification in the title, which says the program's use is basically the same as the previous program. Also I am making it much more efficient by displaying the number of rows fetched. So I will just make some modification here. So also display the number of rows fetched. Okay, for that we have to use the property of what? We have to use the property of row count. What is the syntax here? The syntax is variable equals to cursor object dot row count. Row count is not a function, it is just a property. So you should not give bracket here. Okay, so variable equals to cursor object dot row count. So let us take one. So after displaying the data, what we can do? We can take a variable, let us say for taking the row count, we will take a variable, let us say RC equals to cursor object. What is the cursor object? It is CUR dot row count. So what this particular line will do? This particular line will return the position of the cursor and store it in the variable RC. Now for seeing the position of the rows, what we can do? We can just display it. Sorry, here I just made a mistake. Here dot row count. So for seeing the position of the cursor, we can just display this particular variable RC. Let us display it. So for that we will use the print function. Print number of rows fetched. Where is the number of rows fetched stored? It is stored in the variable RC. So what we will do? We will just display the variable RC here and then we will just run it. So enter the number of rows you want to display. Let us say I want to display 3 rows. I will just give 3 here. Okay, MySQL cursor object has no attribute row count. Okay, here I have just made a mistake in the spelling. It should be row count. I gave row round. So, okay, so now the output has come. Enter the number of rows you want to display. If I just give 3 here, 3 rows has been displayed using fetch many, and at the end, as you can see here, number of rows fetch has been displayed here, which is 3 in this case. So if I just show it to you quickly, these lines which are highlighted in a box does the work of displaying the number of rows fetched. So here we are getting the output, okay, and we have got the general output, and at the end we have got the number of rows fetched, which is 2 in this case. So that's all for today. Till now we have completed these topics which are highlighted in red. In the next class we will be going on with some more topics. Thank you very much. I hope that this session was useful.